Good evening, my friends. This is Dr. Abdul Jabbar Khan, and you are watching Dr. Abdul Jabbar Khan official at YouTube. You must have observed, the correlation between the petroleum prices and the gold, or the silver prices. Given the proposition and the economic scenario globally, where there is a probable strong fight between dollar and the BRICS currency, the China has said that we are not going to accept the monopoly and the pressures of US dollars, whereas we are going to launch very soon the BRICS currency. Unless that currency is launched, China says, the Chinese president says, we are going to use the Chinese currency as such for the trading purposes. So we are going to discuss today what is the correlation between the petroleum prices and the gold, and who are the biggest buyers of gold in recent days and years or months. Summary of the correlation that I wanted to give it to you is that the once popular belief in a simple fixed connection is no longer valid. What was that? In recent years, studies have shown a positive short-term correlation, meaning prices tend to move in the same direction, but this relationship can be weak or even negative over the long term. The gold to oil prices, investors use this broader equation of the gold prices per ounce divided by oil prices per barrel as a tool to understand the relative value of these commodities and manage risks within their portfolios. If we go through the data, we find that macroeconomic factors in terms of the US dollar strength, interest rates, global demand and supply shocks the gold as well as the availability and the supply of petroleum products. So for the consumers, for the investors, it's a very big question which particular commodity the investor should go for investment for better return. Is it gold? Is it silver? Is it the petroleum products or the bonds or the currency itself? In the poor and the third world countries, most of the cases, if you got sufficient funds available and the savings is there with you, people go for the buying of the gold. People go for the investment in the government securities and the government bonds. So the third is the purchasing of gold or silver. So in terms of the multinational companies go for the purchase of the petroleum products from the oil producing countries. That is a short-term return available with them, 3 months, 1 month, 3 months or 6 months basis. They go for the forward contracts, forward buyings, So let me further explain it to you, sir. There are dynamics in terms of the relationship between the POL and the gold prices. Inflation hedge is very important. Cost of living, the rate of inflation in a given country, the availability of the funds, that is the personal savings or the national savings, safe haven assets that include the geopolitical instability that affects the prices, that affects the economic conditions, ultimately that lead to the savings or no savings. The economic downturns, there is always there, and the government keeps on projecting that there is no economic problems or crisis like in Pakistan. International Monetary Fund has given a report regarding the malpractices, the corruption and the earning of the illicit wealth, the piling up of the illicit wealth. IMF has not prescribed yet what should be the the practice, how to counter the corruption as such, or the corrupt people, or the corruption mafia, operating in the third world countries, especially India, Pakistan, Bangladesh. You must have seen the rulers of the ruling class are the main culprits behind the corrupt practices. Trillions of rupees, takas, or the Indian rupees have been the practice of the rulers, the ruling class, or the ruling parties. They tend to move to that direction where the wealth is looted away by the ruling class, by the elite of a given society, especially in South Asian 3 countries. Sri Lanka is also a classical case in point. So I was discussing the relationship between the oil prices and the POL and the gold is the dynamic and complex situation to discuss, but it is there. That affects the huge buying in gold affects the overall availability of money in market. Given the even the theory is, and that has been seen practically, that maximum number of projects, pouring down huge money investment in the market affects the inflation also, affects the prices, cost of living. The availability of the funds in the market certainly affect the prices, the supply and demand. So let me tell you, sir, that Poland was the top buyer this year for the gold bullion. Poland was the top buyer in 24 and early 2025. Among central banks, with other countries like China, Kazakhstan, and India also significant buyers. Significant buyers we are talking of. For jewelry, China has the highest consumption, while the United States has the largest overall gold reserves in the world. United States has got the largest reserves. Like what is happening in Sudan, it's for the gold. That is the gold assets. The two groups are fighting each other, killing as many as 27,000 people in only 3 days. They were all Sudanese. They were the Sudanese, who were supporting the rapid force. UAE was supporting the UAE force, whereas the complainant was Saudi Arabia before the US President Trump. So it is always a fight on the question of gold, POL, assets building, political influence, extortion, earning illicit, making illicit wealth, and earning money. So for the central banks, in the central banks of all the countries usually go for the buying of gold from the international market. Russia is another very important buyer. And this information is there with the bullion vault. With reference to that, China, Kazakhstan, India, gold buyers globally. China, United States of America, and Iran, major buyer of gold and jewelry. So that affects the prices even in Pakistan, India, or Bangladesh, South Asia. Here is the quick and very clever move that should be on the part of the government, especially in Pakistan. Pakistan government has recently announced sort of a liberated trading regime of gold and bullion here in Pakistan. Previously it was restricted. India has got a very good policy of, because the Indian population is 1.4 billion people. And their society, their culture allows them, rather motivate them to buy maximum jewelry and gold, silver or yellow gold. White gold is another phenomena that has recently been there for say around 20 years. There is also palladium and platinum, these two products. precious metals. These are the three precious metals. Whereas the diamond purchases are also there. India produces finest quality diamonds, finishing, cutting, etc. And another source of diamond is the Zambia and South Africa. Gold is being produced mostly in the poorest of the poor countries in Africa. And that is the civil war sort of conditions prevailing in many countries in North Africa and the Central Africa. So given that situation, Pakistan does not have a good policy of allowing purchase of gold and bullion. Given that situation, the prices are moving up more than 400,000 rupees per 10 gram. It's very expensive there. And projection is that may go even $421 per ounce may go to $500. That is the projection given by the experts in the global market. With that situation, we now go to the possibility of political changes in Islamabad. The ruling Pakistan Muslim League, having got its Prime Minister, younger brother of the leader of the party, Shahbaz Sharif, there are good confirmed news that Shahbaz Sharif will step down in favor of his brother, who is also an MNA, member of the National Assembly, who will be the Prime Minister for the fourth time. Is it not a surprise for the people? But the people don't expect that it's going to be miraculously good economic policies. Yes, in the early first term of Nawaz Sharif, it was a very positive proposition and the contribution for the economic development and the welfare of the people. Gradually, that eroded in the third term of Nawaz Sharif. It was not at all good experience for the people of Pakistan. And even in the present coalition government, when the three parties are in power, they're sharing the provincial as well as the federal government, chairmanship of the Senate, speakership of the National Assembly, provincial governors, all the three major parties are having got a good share in the cake. But who are the losers? Ultimately, the people of Pakistan are the losers. They are confronting or facing the corruption, corrupt practices, no delivery to the people of Pakistan, poor governance, no benefit to the people of Pakistan, no recovery, nothing, no social security cover, except that the unconditional cash transfer to the poorest of the poor, say around 1,000 billion rupees, is nothing. With an economy of this size, they could have delivered much better way. They could have delivered in a much better way to the people of Pakistan. But that's not the case. Even the social indicators of Bangladesh, Sri Lanka and Vietnam is much better than Pakistan. Pakistan is confronted with the question of war on terror, internal insecurity, internal instability, political factors, socio-economic factors, the foreign influence, the American influence, even the CPEC, hugely and profusely contributed by China, has not been able to deliver good to the people. Reason being is a domestic factor, is a favor on the part of the government, having got no security, the emergence of the terrorist groups, like in the BLA supported by India, the TTP supported by Afghanistan and India, and the many other groups. So Pakistan is confronted with internal as well as external threats and problems. And India against Pakistan is another factor which is negative, which is enemy sort of creating always a condition that the Pakistan could not develop and make a good growth, good GDP. Huge investment, huge money is poured in the defense only because of India. Anyway, this is the sort of a thing that I wanted to share with you. On the international front, you must have seen there are certain possibilities that the Ukraine war is going to end very soon. It may take time, but the US president's plan is working there. The president of Russia is supporting that. The peace should return to Ukraine and the region. That will positively affect the European economy and the members of the European Commission. Here in Middle Eastern countries, situation is not good. The Abraham Accord is nothing but the allowing Israel, or Netanyahu, the Prime Minister, to keep on attacking Lebanon, Palestine, Gaza, and West Bank. And the Muslim world is unable, the leadership of Islamic countries is unable to manage and get hold of the Israeli hands and the killings of the Palestinian and the Gazan people. Very miserable conditions are prevailing there. For today's, I take your leave, sir. Subscribe Dr. Abdul Jabbar Khan Official on YouTube. Thank you very much and God bless you.